Former Texas foster youth describes dangerous conditions as judge weighs state sanctions. So this is the CPS system in every state, Children and Protective Services. It's deliberately broken. It's more than broken. It's a total disaster. It's not something therapeutic. It's dangerous. Let's just be honest. It's dangerous, and it's in every state. And yeah, there's thousands of kids now that they have some lawsuit in Texas, but this is your state too, whatever state you live in. Look, they put these people, like at least in Cook County, okay, Sister Catherine Ryan, who I did a video about earlier, okay, she headed up Maryville. I know what kinds of, all the kids I had that I took care of while I was at Maryville were all state wards. And they're at the least, as I've said, forgotten about, neglected. They don't give a shit what conditions they put these kids in. They deliberately go out of their way. I'm going to say it. Will they admit it? Most people would look at me saying this and say, oh, you're going too far. Oh, no, I'm not going far enough, I would say. They deliberately want to hurt them. They just are doing it in subtle ways. So really what happens through the whole CPS system is they get federal money, they get state money, they pocket it amongst themselves, them and the politicians, okay? And then the children suffer. And because most of these Children and Protective Services, like Maryville was always protected, and so was DCFS, because DCFS and Maryville, you know, are in bed together. And because all those politicians were on the board at Maryville, and the head of the Chicago Tribune was, none of the public ever finds out about it. That's how you keep the game going, and you never know that the most innocent of children having their lives destroyed. Juarez's testimony was part of a 3-day hearing in Texas. 12-year-old federal lawsuits over unsafe conditions for foster children. Lawyers for the thousands of children in the state's custody are asking the U.S. Judge Janice Jack to hold the state in contempt for failing to adequately comply with 6 court-mandated reforms, including improving the quality of abuse investigations, training staff to identify signs of sexual abuse, and properly administer medication. Most of these kids, they don't need to be on medication. They don't. There's very few that do. They have trauma. They do. And not just one, they have complex trauma, because they have many, because they've been in the hands of these monsters, and they just put them in worse homes. They do. They really do. That may be hard for people to understand, and you think that, no, I'm just going too far. No, I don't even think I'm probably going far enough. Juarez, now 18, testified in federal court Monday that a staff member at one of the group homes she stayed at sent her inappropriate texts. She slept in Child Protective Services offices, a church, and a hotel when she didn't have placement. Children there the other children beat her so badly she needed medical attention. So this is one of these, when I read this, it was like my heart dropped, because I had mentioned how Northwestern, when I was working in the ED there, this is why I can't stand that CEO that's not there anymore. But, you know, he just caved to the state. But, you know, he was a globalist, so of course it's not like I would expect him to, you know, care. Really doesn't about money. He does. But we had a 6-year-old in the ED, okay? They're easy to find placement for, even though he sabotaged 2 of them. And then all of a sudden, it came down from the higher ups in, you know, Northwestern Chicago that we're going to tell DCFS if they don't come and get this 6-year-old in 24 hours, we're going to charge them with abandonment. But see, they looked like total fools, just like they looked like fools when they wrote all their pieces back in 2020, hating all over Trump. Yeah, just looking like fools. Because we had, I think it was that same year, 2 teenagers that were state wards, and they stayed with us for 6 weeks because there was no way to find a placement. Plus, they're older, and the longer they stay in the system, the more behavioral problems they're going to have. So, I think that's the goal of the CPS system with our federal government. Now, you don't have to believe that, but I'm an expert in this area. I worked in the trenches of it. So the model of the CPS system, pretty much, it's always they never have enough staff, they don't have enough money, they do extra training. Yeah, no, that's not the problem. They're doing it on purpose. So right now they're doing this in healthcare, in regards to nurses, and nurses should recognize it. I mean, look at what's happening, especially the nurses, I would say, that are in like leadership positions. There's many, because the psych hospitals, they're all, I don't want to say they're merging, or they have all these new ones going up. But in Illinois, they're all starting to fall under one umbrella. Yeah, it's under U.S. Health Vest. That's who bought Maryville Academy, the place I worked at. So it's part of that global system where everything will be under one roof. And they're going into this direction where they don't want us using mechanical restraints. And I'm not for restraints, but sometimes it's necessary for the safety of the patient and the safety of staff. No, they want everybody to do holds instead, but then they want to cut your staff. So what do you think the heads of the hospital are really trying to do? Do you think it's really that they don't have enough money? No. Do you think it's really they just can't find the staff? No, they're deliberately doing it. Because it's ridiculous to take away Velcro restraints and expect to have staff do holds in an acute psychiatric setting, and then on top of that, you're going to cut staff. You're just setting everybody up to fail. So that they're taking them, all the hospitals, especially in psych, most of them, especially any freestanding, they are taking the direction of exactly what CPS has done for decades. Jackie Juarez was 11 when state officials took custody of her. She came out of foster care system more traumatized than when she entered. They all do. It's so very sad. It really is. It's heartbreaking. If that doesn't make you feel bad, then do you have feelings? So she had this worker too that, I told you many of these workers that they staff these places with, they're not good people. Juarez, now 18, testified in federal court that a staff member at one group home she stayed at sent her inappropriate Texas. She slept in Child Protective Services offices, a church, and a hotel when she didn't have placement, and she was beaten badly by the other kids. So this is why I hated the CEO at Northwestern, because the 6-year-old, because he threatened to put abandonment charges on DCFS, well, it forced them to come and get the kid the next morning, which I think it was really just they were all working together on it. Yeah, it's, trafficking basically. But here's the thing, and my manager and the CNO, they've never worked in it, so they don't know. So I tried to tell them, and I know there was nothing they could do. Ultimately, the CEO decides. He's a dirtbag, okay? Globalist dirtbag. This 6-year-old he just wanted to feel safe. So what ended up happening, because they couldn't find placement, there was nothing wrong. That CEO could have done like he did with those teenagers. He let them stay with us for 6 weeks, and they were there at the same time. But a 6-year-old, no, he's got to get out of here in 24 hours. Fucking asshole. And I'm talking about the CEO. So I've worried about this kid. Who knows? Because he ended up in a DCFS shelter in the city. A shelter in the city that when people come in to walk through it, they clean it up. But really, it's been known. It's been written about. But to try to tell my chief nursing officer at Northwestern, or my manager there, no, well, whatever. But the kids are sleeping under desks. They're beating each other up. Nobody's looking after them. They don't care. They put these kids away. You don't find out about it because the paper covers for them. Everybody does. I know it's horrible, but trust me, this is one area I know, because I've been trying to raise the alarm flags about this for a while. These kids are not psych issues either. They're behavioral issues. There's very few that need to be on all these psychotropics. And I'm going to continue this in one more video, because there's a little bit more to know about this.